Hello coaster fans, this is a Coasterman 900 and today we have one of the biggest videos, the biggest video I've ever made. And you might be thinking, hey, the Coaster Man hasn't posted a video in so long. Well, that's because I've been sidetracked a whole lot. I went to LA, I went to Six Flags Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farm, Universal Studios. I also had some cousins visiting, and this is a massive PowerPoint, so it took me a long time to make. So I have plenty of reasons that I have not posted a video in a while. And if you want to know how massive this PowerPoint is, it is 66 slides, so it's pretty long. So pretty much what I will be doing in this video, I will be taking all of the amusement parks in California, with the exception of California's Great America. I haven't been there recently enough, so I don't really have a clear assumption of that park. But all the other ones, well, all the big ones, and I'm going to be rating every single one of their rides that I've been on. Like, for example, when I went to Knott's Berry Farm, Montezuma's Revenge was closed, so that will not be in here. And, I can't think of any more examples, but let's just get started. So the first park we will be rating is Six Flags Magic Mountain. I have given this park a 9. It is a great park. Tons of coasters, tons of rides. Wish they had a better mix, and it's just a great park. And also, it'll say number 1, number 2. That's not in order of how good it is. It's in alphabetical order, so that's just to make things a little bit more organized and easier to do, because it would take me 3 times as long to make a top. How many coasters do I have in this? Well, I may have 66 slides and I only have 57 coasters. But anyway, so a top 57 would be pretty hard. So I'm just going to be doing them in alphabetical order. So the first coaster we have is Apocalypse. And the good part about this countdown is that it's not rated on all the other coasters. It's rated compared to its category. So, for example, Apocalypse compared to other wooden coasters gets a 9.5. This is a great coaster, and I love every bit about it. It's so much fun. And yeah, it's a great ride. Next, we have Batman the Ride. Now, this is a different one, because I have 2 ratings for this one, because it is temporarily running backwards, and I went while it was. So I have the experience both forwards and backwards, so I have a very good rating of it. So forwards, I gave it a 7, and backwards, I gave it an 8.5. For a wooden coaster, I gave Colossus an 8, and backwards I gave it an 8.5. Colossus is not that much better when it's backwards. Full Throttle, it gets an 8.5. It's a great ride. Slightly underwhelming. I expected this to be a 10, but before I rode it, I expected it to be the best ride at the park, and then I rode it and I was like, that's not the greatest, but it would be better if they didn't kill the momentum right after the top hat. That really annoys me. So yeah, next we have Green Lantern, and I give it a 3. The only reason it doesn't get a 1 is because it's unique. Now we have Gold Rusher. This one, as a family coaster, it gets a 7. It's not the greatest, it's kind of dull. Sorry, I have a little bit of a stuffed nose right now. Goliath, this is an easy 10. This is one of my favorite rides in this park. Lex Luthor Drop of Doom, another easy 10. Ninja is a 9.5. It's a pretty good family coaster. Probably one of either the best or one of the best swinging coasters. Revolution, 7. It's not the greatest, but it's okay. Superman, it's a 9.5. It's so much fun, especially launching from 0 to 100 backwards. That's awesome. Scream, this gets a 7.5. It would get higher if it didn't have a really bad color scheme. Its color scheme is kind of lame, and B&M, this was not B&M's best coaster. They could have done a lot better. Now we have the Riddler's Revenge, and this is a 7.5. I should have given this an 8. I mean, people say that stand-up coasters are terrible, but I agree. not this one. This one's actually quite a lot of fun. So I think I should have given it an 8. In fact, I'm going to change it right now. Riddler's Revenge has an 8. Tatsu, 10. No, it's an easy 10. Viper, it's kind of bad, so I only gave it a 6. It's not worth it, but the best ride in the park is X2. It gets a 10 plus. So in this rating slide thing, one ride for every park will get a 10 plus. And it doesn't have to be a ride. It doesn't have to be a roller coaster. It can be anything. It just means my favorite thing at that park. The next park we have is Knott's Berry Farm. This park also gets a 9. While they might not have as many coasters as Magic Mountain, it does have better ones. And it's just an awesome park. So we will start with Boomerang, which gets an 8. And this is not the only Boomerang on this countdown, so I'm just telling you guys right now. I mean, I do like the color scheme a lot. Coast Rider, 9 for a family coaster. This ride's fun. Unlike most Wild Mouses, this one isn't that painful. On most of them, you feel like you're going to go straight off the track. But on this one, on most of them, you feel that. But on this one, it's kind of calm, and it's a lot more tame than the average Wild Mouse. But at the same time, it's a lot less painful. Ghost Rider, this gets a 9. This ride's so much fun. It's not as good as Apocalypse, but it's still a lot of fun. The only thing, this would be better than Apocalypse if it was smoother. Jaguar, 7. It's not the greatest. It's kind of dull. La Revolution. This gets an 8 as a thrill ride. This one's a lot of fun. Pony Express, as a family coaster, this is an easy 10. It's so much fun. I'd say it's just as much fun as Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I'd say I had just as much fun on this as I did on that. Scream and Swing. This is an easy 10. I love S&S Scream and Swings. They're so much fun. They never get old. Sierra Sidewinder, the spinning coaster. This is an 8.5. This one's pretty intense. I hesitated to give it a family coaster rating because it's pretty intense. Now, for the 25th coaster, this is also the 10 plus. Yep, I gave it to Accelerator. This is my second favorite coaster on this whole thing. Number 50 is my favorite. This ride is so much fun, and I like everything about it. Supreme Scream gets an 8.5. This was actually my very first big drop tower. I used to be afraid of drop towers until I went to Knott's Berry Farm, and I saw a kid in my class, and then he dragged me on this, and I loved it. So, worked out perfectly. Silver Bullet gets a 9.5. This is a great B&M invert. I love it. It's pretty underrated. No, it's not pretty underrated. It's very underrated. Next, we have Universal Studios in Hollywood. The first ride we have is The Revenge of the Mummy. This gets an 8.5 as a thrill coaster. The actual ride is a family coaster, but because of all the scary theming, I had to give it a thrill. So yeah, it's an 8.5. It would have been a 10 if I gave it a family rating. Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. This is a 9 for a simulator. Universal is one of 3 parks that actually has this. This is sim rating, meaning for a simulator. Because, I mean, let's face it, simulators are not going to be as good as thrill rides and fun coasters and stuff like that. So, this gets a 9 for a simulator. It's a whole lot of fun. I like this ride a lot. Studio Tour. And, well, this is not technically inside the park. Because, well, when you go onto Studio Tour, you leave the park and you go around the Universal Studios backlot. I hesitated to put this in the countdown, but Universal Studios would not have a 10 plus if I didn't put it in, so I had to put it in. This ride is a whole lot of fun. Well, it's not really a ride, but we saw everything that you see in the Universal movies. We saw Amity Island, we saw the Bates Motel, we saw Whoville, which ironically is right behind the Bates Motel. We saw the crash site in War of the Worlds with that completely destroyed Boeing 747. We saw people actually filming a TV show, Home and Family. If you've never heard of it, you might watch it. We also saw the set of Parenthood. That was pretty fun. So, yeah. Next we have King Kong 360 3D. So, you might be thinking, hey, isn't that the trolley in the studio tour? Yes, it is. This is actually on the studio tour. You don't have to wait in a separate line to go on this. During the studio tour, you go into this room, and it has a 360 3D TV, and then it has a King Kong simulator on it. And this is a 9.5. It's a great simulator. But the best simulator at the park, The Simpsons. This ride is so much fun. It's not actually that great of a simulator, but it is a really, really funny simulator. The jokes aren't funny unless you actually ride it, but there's a lot of funny stuff in it. Jurassic Park. This is one of the rides that has a water rating, and the water rating on this is a 9.5. This is my second favorite water ride I've been on. Universal Studios Animal Actors. For a show, this is the only show in the countdown, but this is a 10. This one's really cool. It's funny, it's happy, it's awesome. But if you don't want to see something happy and funny and awesome, you go to Universal House of Horrors, the third scariest haunted house in America. And I couldn't go to sleep until like 1 o'clock that night. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen. If you are at all squeamish, please skip this part of the video. I will have a link that says to do that because of this right here. It's kind of gory and bloody. But I had to see that without knowing it. The scariest part is the psycho section because there's mirrors everywhere and you don't know where you're going. And every once in a while, people walk into the mirrors. It's really, really funny. Now we have Disneyland. This is a really nice park and, well, it got some pretty high ratings. I give it an 8. I mean, it's not that thrilling. If it had more thrilling rides, yet the same amount of theming and the same amount of Disney magic, then it would be an easy 10. It would be probably the best park in the world. The first coaster we will be rating is the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. This is a 9.5 for a family coaster. This is a whole lot of fun. Even for adrenaline people, this ride just never gets old. It's a fun ride. Indiana Jones Adventure Temple of the Forbidden Eye. This is a thrill rating because of the crazy theming and it's a whole lot of fun. I gave this also a 9.5, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Matterhorn. This gets an 8. It's kind of, I mean, like, this isn't actually a bobsled coaster. They just say it is, but it's an okay ride. I mean, it's not the greatest. Now we have Pirates of the Caribbean. And remember how I said that Jurassic Park was my second favorite water ride? This is my favorite. This is so much fun. I like this ride a lot. Never gets old. I've ridden this ride like 300 times and I still never get bored of it because of all the theming and then the drop, which is a pretty big drop. Don't get me wrong. Space Mountain. This is a 10. Easy 10. Splash Mountain. This is a 9. This is my third favorite water ride I've ever been on. Now we have the 10 plus of Disneyland. My favorite ride at the park, my favorite simulator I've ever been on, the Star Tours. The cool thing about this one is that there are 56 different possible things, simulations. It's different every time you ride. If you ride it 56 times, it's very unlikely that you will have ridden it, that you will have gotten the full experience. I've ridden this ride like 30 times, and all of them were different. And, well, this ride never gets old. Now we have California Adventure. This doesn't have as many, but it does have a lot better rides. Starting with the 10 Plus, California Screamin'. This is a whole lot of fun, and this ride is one of those rides that just never gets old. And it's cool how it looks like a wooden roller coaster. They didn't do the greatest at it, considering the fact it has a loop, but they did okay. Well, Goofy Sky School. This is 7.5. It's just a wild mouse, nothing special. Grizzly River Run. This is my fourth favorite. No, this is my third favorite water ride I've ever been on. And then, no, this is my second favorite. This is better than Jurassic Park because you get because not only do you get the average rapids ride, but you also get the normal drop ride. So it's kind of like, in my opinion, a mix of Jurassic Park and Bigfoot Rapids at Knott's Berry Farm, I would say. Radiator Springs Racers. This is a 10. Easy 10. No matter what, I'm giving this a 10. Soaring Over California. This is also a 10. This is my this is a great simulator. I love it a lot. And the best part about it is they have these little scent things. So when you're going over something, like for example, when you're going over Napa, they give you a smell of grapes. Orange County, smell of oranges. Disneyland, smell of smoke. Fireworks. They actually have the smell of smoke when you go over Disneyland because of all the fireworks ceremonies. My favorite one is the Redwood Forest. That one, it gives this smell. It gives like an exact smell of Redwood Forest. And you go across. It's a lot of fun. And last we have the Tower of Terror. This is an easy 10. This is my second favorite drop tower I've ever been on. It's a great ride. It's a lot of fun too. And the last park we have is Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. Sorry, I have a really stuffed nose. And you know how I said there were 2 boomerang slides? Well, here is that second one. This is an 8. No need to explain it. And for my 50th coaster, I decided to do my favorite one. Well, this isn't actually my favorite coaster, but this one kind of means the most to me. It's kind of like inspirational. It was my first it's my favorite ride, Discovery Kingdom, and Discovery Kingdom is a big park to me. I was thinking of putting Medusa here, but it's not as good as this one, so I decided to give this my 50th one. This is Superman Ultimate Flight, and this is an awesome ride. It's so much fun. Every time I ride it, I love it. Never gets old. This is an easy 10 plus. Cobra, kitty rating 8. Hammerhead Shark, thrill rating. This is a 7. It's not the greatest, but it's an interesting ride. It's not your average ride. Kong gets a Vekoma SLC. We'll give it a 6, and we'll move on. Medusa is, in my opinion, the second best floorless coaster in the world. Most people say it's an average floorless coaster. I've seen POVs of all the other ones. Even before I rode this, I've seen a POV of this, and it's the only one that beats this is Superman Krypton Coaster. Which, who knows, it might be an incredibly rough ride once we ride it. Only time will tell if I go to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Now we have Roar. This for a wooden coaster, I would give it an 8. It's a lot of fun. People say, oh no, this ride isn't good just because it has a clone at Six Flags America. Oh, come on. Just because it has a clone doesn't mean it's worse. Like, if this didn't have a clone, I would say it's just as fun of a ride. And also, this was made after the other one, so instead of having the boring carts, it has the Millennium Flyer carts, and then all the turns are also tighter. I have this picture that has a comparison of both of them, and then you can see, like, the one at Six Flags America is all expanded and puffy. And then this one's very condensed and compact. Skyscraper. If this was the New England Skyscraper, this is a 10, but it's not. It's less than half the size. Vallejo only has a city limit of 150 feet, so it is illegal to make something that goes above that. That is why they don't have a drop tower, because the average height for a drop tower is between 200 and 300. So yeah, of course the only two big drop towers I've been on are above 300 feet, which is kind of ironic. So for a normal skyscraper, I'd give it a 7. Backwards, 7.5. It's not that much different. The Tasmanian Devil. Now, this is probably my favorite slide. Not my favorite ride, but definitely my favorite slide. Because you can tell that these were taken on the same day. You can see that creepy guy walking across that looks like a mad scientist. And then you can also see these two guys watching the ride. And then you can also see the same cloud. So they were probably taking on one swing like click, and then swing back, click. I think that's pretty funny. So, just speaking of the ride, I'd give it an 8, but come on. How often do you see that? Two pictures taken on the same day. Same ride, actually. V2 Vertical Velocity. This is a 9.5. This one is a lot of fun. Not only is it a lot of fun, but it is the last slide of the video. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot more videos posted, and I have a lot more coming. And I will see you guys next time.